All right, everyone, thanks for joining tonight's post-game press conference following the 3-0 win over Miami. We'll kick it off with an opening statement from Coach Carnell, then go to questions. So, Coach, you've got the floor.
Thanks, John. Yeah, good evening, everyone. Yeah, first of all, I'd like to give a shout out to Alexander Langer, our set-piece specialist, for his hat-trick tonight, supported by John Hackworth. So we know we're pretty high up in the standings on the set-piece count, and these guys work their tails off. So, congrats to them. To the team, I mean, it's been a tough stretch over here. To go the last 4 games, 3 clean sheets, right? Got a bunch of points, and to end off on this stretch going into this Leagues Cup break was massively important. Playing at City Park where the fans were electrifying once again, it was amazing. And this gives us extra energy, Think about, guys like Jabulo Blom turning it around back to back, and Indy Vasilev just emptying the tank for the team and, what we stand for. So, very happy with the shutout and the clean sheet. We move on. We just enjoy the couple of days now. We wish our MVPs all the best, all the All-Stars, Tim and Roman, and we'll be supporting them as well.
Thanks, Coach. We'll kick it off with Santiago first.
Every time. He makes the same mistake.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I think when I hit unmute, John is also doing the same thing, but I'm here. So
Deflection is always good, huh?
So going into the Leagues Cup break with another victory, 41 points on the table. Can you very quick? Can you make an assessment of what the season has been so far for the team?
Yeah, I mean, what started off to be a fairy tale has become business, right? It sparked an appetite, a hunger for more. And when I see the players, the way they perform tonight, knowing that there's a little break coming up, knowing that there's Leagues Cup, knowing, that essentially from a mental standpoint, you can at least switch off for a few days, right? So this has been massively important for us. And now we start turning focus. But, what I've seen is a hunger and a desire, not just to compete against each other, but to set high standards. And we hold ourselves by these and accountable every single day. And I think you can see a team that's connected. I think you can see a roster that's fighting for everything. And the points are there to back it up. So, incredibly grateful. But again, it starts with momentum. It starts with good starts. It starts with good starts to games, good starts to the league, in terms of momentum. And then we just keep it rolling. So we've been dealt a few challenges and a few blows over the last couple of months, but we've always found a way, and good teams seem to do that.
Next we'll go to Tom.
Do you really want to take a break right now, the way things are going?
Yeah, listen, I mean, is it a break? There's a couple of days, before we start ramping it up again for Columbus in the Leagues Cup. So, at least this little 3-day stretch now, we don't want to see the guys. We want them to switch down physically, mentally, and then reassess come middle of the week next week. So, momentum is hard to stop. So we want to keep momentum. Every official game that there is to be played, we want to win. We want to give ourselves a good showing, and we want to compete for things. So, I mean, the team has earned, some points on the board now, and we can put that aside and just focus on the new competition.
And the job Alex Langer's doing with set pieces is something. It's like every week he's got new plans coming up for set pieces?
Yeah, I think there's ideas, there's creativity, and there's bravery to implement them, and then you need to have players who are willing and brave enough to execute, right? So I think it's a culmination of everything, and sometimes things just click. And if you do the right thing enough times, you'll get lucky in parentheses, right? So the harder you work, the luckier you'll get. And saying that, we have some good weapons, on the ball. We have some good weapons off the ball. And you need to get the ball into those spots, which means getting corners, getting free kicks in the final third. So, I think it's a culmination of everything, our game model, our principles, our philosophy, and then the willingness to execute and the excellence to execute as well.
Coach, talk about Josh Yarrow.
What would you like me to say? You see what a guy is on the field. You see the committed leader, the brave warrior that's out there time and time again, right? He's been silent. He hasn't said a word being on the sidelines for so many months. And then he comes in and shows, like he hasn't skipped a heartbeat. He can fit into this game model extremely well. He's supported and loved by everyone in this club, and I think it shows. He plays free, he plays aggressive, he plays according to how we, like our center backs to play. And again, he's a voice on and off the field. He's a great human being off the field as well. He's out in the communities more than anybody I know, so he does his bit on and off the field.
Coach, I wanted to ask about the sequence kind of directly before the first goal. Miami has their corner kick. I see you and Sam Adeniran kind of having a conversation, some instructions. What were you kind of telling him? Because immediately after, on the counter, Sam wins the corner that results in the first goal. What were those adjustments like?
It was just more adjustments to what we were trying to do from a pressing standpoint, So they were challenging us a little bit with their shape in the attack, and they got around our midfield a little bit too easily. So we just shifted a few things with Indy. Just a small change, which means their confrontation lines, their starting points of who they're pressing and reference players changed a little bit. So it was more structural than anything else.
With the way Tim Parker heads the ball, can you describe I don't know if it's the authoritarianness or just assertiveness of his heading, whether it's on the defense or even, of course, on the corner kicks?
Yeah, I think it just shows intent, right? It shows intent to do the action that we require, and shows the intensity and how he goes about it, right? So there's not many guys as fearless and as brave as Tim in the league, and he'll step through a brick wall if he has to for his team. And he's done it a bunch of times, right? So, but he also knows if he plays away towards our principles, he will be rewarded, right? So many years, a veteran in the league, to get his first All-Star call-up is amazing, and it just shows, credit to, the road that we are paving and the opportunities that we are creating. But again, players need to have buy-in. Players need to have belief to implement the system. So, I think, again, it's just a full circle of belief and trust that we're trying to create and culminate here within this group. And Tim leads that by his actions, right?
Actually, how did Tim, he had 2 goals in his MLS career up until this season, and 3 this season. It seems like he had 8 more years where he wasn't getting these.
Sometimes things are, there's moments of changes in your life, and you find a new purpose, you find a why, and every day you step over those white lines, you play for that purpose. And that's something maybe to ask Tim about, but, maybe he's found a new purpose in what he's doing. And then sometimes you're a little bit more free, a little bit more agile, you're a little bit more fresh in the brain, and you see things quicker than the opponent. So, you almost will yourself to success.
Looks like Edu Leuven is back to being Edu Leuven.
Yeah, I mean, he was pretty angry with me that I only gave him 30 minutes tonight, So, we're trying to manage and mitigate Leuven's minutes, Edu's minutes, and we don't want to be reckless with it because, as you can see in key moments in the transition now, how clean the transitions are going forward, and how many more goal-scoring attacks we get. I thought, we've compensated that really well over time. But then when he's on it and feeling the groove, then he's pretty difficult to stop. So it was great to have him on there. I don't think we should jump to conclusions just too soon. We should just progress him along in the right way, and downplay it, because if I say anything too nice, Eddie will mark my words here, and then he'll force me to play him longer.
Coach, Rasmus Alm from minute 1 was pressing the entire game, ran for the entire 60 minutes he played. And at the same time, you guys were playing him further up the field in more of a forward role than kind of a winger role than we've seen from him. Just how much did he open up and dictate your game plan for the day?
It's important, right? When we know Rasmus is a weapon running in behind, he wants to do this. He's a winger by trade, but we know with the big Sam Adeniran partnership, with Rasmus, he creates a ton of problems for the defenders. We used it similarly to San Jose game away, and we had great success there. So it was kind of, roll out that game plan, match plan from that game, and frees up now space for AZ Jackson underneath. The shape didn't quite work as how I'd like to, and we changed things after a couple of minutes, and that seemed to have set a better structure for us moving forward.
So for the last 5 games, you started Yarrow, Watts, AZ, and Adeniran. In those games, Adeniran and AZ have been involved in 7 of your 8 goals, and you have 3 or 4 clean sheets in those games. Just can you talk a little bit about what those 4 players have done and kind of changed this lineup?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to talk about the team who went 5-0 too. So these are all moments and blocks of our season, and we stand together as a team and some of the boys are supporting members in the match day roster, and some are playing, right? So we've created history with guys like Jake Nowinski, Johnny Nelson, who've emptied the tank, and Lucas Bartlett makes it, a couple of important games. So, JB plays excellently against LAFC, John Bell, right, against LAFC. So, yeah, we have to look at this thing as a whole. I could not just say, we look at 7 out of 8. We have to look at our history as well, our short history, of which has been, nothing but, people dream about.
We got time for 2 more. We'll go to 10.
Coach, Roman seemed to pull some new ones out of his bag of tricks tonight. The save with his entire being inside the goal except for one fist. How good was he tonight?
Yeah, he was really good. He had some really good distribution moments as well. And I would say the one he saves on the goal line down low was the most impressive one. I think the one he catches midair and holds on to it. I think that was for you guys, the cameras. He's great. I mean, he's earned himself this all-star call-up. He's earned himself momentum through performances, a resurrection of his career as well. He's still young enough to add many years to his career. He could have played anywhere in the world as a starter. We were fortunate enough to grab him, and with momentum and confidence, he grows as a human being. He grows as a player. He grows as a leader, as a captain of this team. And then again, he gets rewarded. So, we try to reward him with clean sheets every single time we step on that field, because we know how much of a winner he is by nature, by desire. He pushes us day in, day out on the training field. And long may this journey continue for him.
We'll wrap up with Tom.
And Sam Adeniran just keeps on going, scoring goals, producing. What's he done with this opportunity he's had since you brought him back?
Yeah, listen, I mean, we have to work, from a tactical standpoint, we have to really work hard with Sam in terms of the nuances of what we are trying to do. But then there's just the raw talent and the raw energy and the power and strength of Sam Adeniran, who occupies 2-3 opponents every single time he steps on the field. So, which then frees up Rasmus, frees up AZ Jackson. So, he's taking this and running with it, right? So he's a weapon. He needs a ton of confidence. And I think through his performances and the freedom that we've given him, he's rewarding his team and rewarding himself as well.
Coach, thank you for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. See you.
Hey, brother.
Thank you.
See you in DC.
See you.